let's continue the functions of the OS. We have the file handling. The OS handles files, allowing you to name them and save them on backing storage, such as saving them on the CD, the DVD, or the hard disk. For example, the OS will allow you to rename, delete, and move the files to different locations on a disk, or even copy them to different backing storage media. Let's begin with the file names. A file is given a name to identify it. We can never have two files in the same folder with the same name. A complete file name has two parts, the name and the extension. So we have the name of the file, whatever it is, for example, part 1, and then we have dot extension. The extension always comes with the dot. So .doc, that means it's a Word file, for example. So the extension helps us know which software did we use. Let's together look at the image below in order to understand better. If it is .doc, then it uses a word processing software, for example, like the Microsoft Word. If it was .txt, then it will be through the text editor, such as the Notepad. And if the file had the extension .htm or .html, then it will open through a web browser. We previously said that HTML is Hypertext Markup Language, so it will only open through a website. Now, if the extension has .bmp or GIF or JPG, then it's an image or a graphic file. If the extension had .mp3, then it is an audio file, so it could be music. If it is .mp4, then it's a video. Now let's move to directories and folders. A new storage medium will have one folder called the root folder. Directories and folders are the same. It is the place where we save our files. When we insert the USB in the computer, it will have a root folder, and sometimes it's called E or F. It is easier to find a specific file if you group your files into separate directories, which are also known as folders. So for example, if I have files for two different hobbies, sports and reading, it's better if I separate those files into two different folders. The root to a file is called its path. So all the folders that I have to access in order to reach this file is called the path. Let's take this example together. We have the root directory, it's called the root, and I have a folder inside of it called mother. Inside the mother folder we have the church, and inside it we have a file called sermon, which is a word processing file because it is .doc. So the path to reach sermon is root, mother, a church, and then we reach the file. And now let's see how do we move, copy, and delete a file from the computer. Let's look at this example together. We have a file that's called my file, and then we have a directory or a folder called my folder. If I want to move my file and put it inside of my folder, I have to right click on my file and then go to cut. And then I double click on my folder and I right click and I press paste. And this is how I move it to inside my folder. And now if we go out of the folder, we can see that my file no longer exists. But if I want a copy from it, I will go to my folder, right click on my file and press copy. And then I exit the folder and I paste it here. And in case I want to delete this file, then I right click on it and I press on the word delete. A pop-up message will appear to ask me whether I'm sure if I want to move it to the recycle bin, and I simply click on yes, and this is how we delete a file. Now let's look at the properties. If I right click on my folder and then I press on the word properties, which is usually at the end, it will give me certain information about the file or the folder. It will give me the location or the path from the root to reach this folder. For example, it will give me the size, which is 0 bytes because I don't have anything in the folder, and it gives me so many other information that I need to know about the file or the folder. So the properties is very important, and I can find the properties of anything on the computer. Whether it's a file, an image, a folder, a video, or even a software.